In this chapter, we're going to discuss how to use arrays. An array is a data structure much like an array list. The difference is an array size must be declared when you declare the array, and its size can never change. An array list, as you've seen, can grow constantly and really never runs out of room. Once you've reached the number of elements you declare in an array, then that array is full and you can't add new elements to it. On the other hand, arrays are very fast and easy to use and don't require importing another class. They're primitive or native to the language. So arrays are used quite often in Java, although to be honest, array lists are beginning to be used more often. So let's begin in this lesson by looking at how to declare an array. And there's two ways to do it. One way is just to declare an array and specify the size of the array. The other way is to declare the array with the elements you want to store in the array. And we'll look at that in a couple of different ways. So let's start out with declaring an integer array of 10 elements. The way we do that is we start off with the keyword int for the data type of the array, followed by open and closed brackets, indicating that this is going to be an array that we're declaring, followed by the name of the array. In this case, we're going to call it numbers. Followed by a call to a constructor, a call to the data type, an open bracket, and the number of elements you want to store in the array. So this statement says we want to create an integer array called numbers and have it store 10 integers in the array. If we wanted to create a char array to store some letters, we could do it the very same. And then the number of characters we want, like so. When you declare an array of 10 or 20, the size doesn't really matter. The beginning element of every array is position 0, just like we saw with array lists. Arrays are structured as contiguous memory addresses. Although we don't worry about memory addresses, we worry about the subscript, or what's also called the offset, the position of the element, and we always start with 0. 0 is always the first position of an array. So just keep that in mind when we're working with arrays. Now let's look at another way to declare an array. We can also declare an array by specifying the elements of the array without giving a size, like this. So here we write int open close brackets nums equals, and then we provide what's called an initialization list of the elements. Notice that each element is separated by a comma. That's the delimiter. So that we're saying that we're going to create an array of 10 integers, and in that array are going to be the numbers 1 through 10. Let's look at another example. We could write string names, and then we could provide a list of names, like so. So this statement says we're going to create a string array of 4 elements called names or titled names. And there will be 4 names starting at position 0 through position 3. So that's how you declare and initialize arrays. The first 2 examples are examples of just declarations where we're declaring an array and the size. Numbers, 10 integers, letters, 20 characters or 20 chars. Then in the next 2 examples, we actually declare and initialize the array by providing an initialization list. Nowhere do we specify the number of elements that are going to be stored in the array, but the compiler figures that out from the initialization list that we provide. So that's our beginning lesson on working with arrays. And in the next lesson, we're going to talk about how to access elements and how to initialize an array once we've declared it, but we haven't provided a list of elements to store. We'll be doing that in the next lesson.